Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Liz. Thank you for stopping by. I'm doing a whip and chat. Let me see, maybe I ought to bring that up a little higher rather than lower. That better? Yeah, that's probably better. This is the painting Golden Castle from Dreamer Designs that I'm working on. This is their new grid, and honestly it's excellent. I mean, you're still going to have occasionally some gapping no matter what canvases you use, but this is 100 million times better than their old canvases as far as the gapping goes. Trust me, like when you turn off the light, you can't see the gapping at all. Actually, let's bring it in close. Let me see. I just have to move it out of the way here. With the light here, you can see a little bit of the gapping. Now I'm going to turn this light on and turn this light off. And yeah, I mean, this a little bit here, but that's because I'm still working on the section. I gotta like push that in. You know, I push in as I go. But you really can't see hardly any gapping at all. It's basically, honestly, in my opinion, it's very, very on point with Diamond Art Club as far as the gapping goes, you know. I mean, some of the drills are a little bit different in size, but that happens with Diamond Art Club as well. So, yeah, it's awesome. I really am loving this canvas a lot. A lot. Okay, so let me turn that one off. Turn this one back. Oh, okay, I did turn it on. I didn't turn it off before. That's what... Oh, Lordy Jesus, I didn't turn it off. Let's see. There we go. That's completely off. Let's bring it back on. A light closer and turn this other light on so you could see it better. I still have the light on underneath. Sorry, I didn't mean to blind you, but see how tight the grid actually looks? I mean, I am loving this. Like, yeah, there's still a couple of, especially with light colors, no matter what company you have, you're going to see it a little bit more with light colors, but honestly, not a problem. And it's nice and glittery. It's hard to, honestly, it's better to see it in different lighting, and I don't have the best lighting right now anyway, because I just have the overhead light, but they're nice and glittery. I know you can see it right there. They're nice and glittery. They're good. Okay, let's turn this back off. Anyway, that's what I'm working on. Excuse me. Is the Dreamer Designs Golden Castle. I am loving it. I think it's great. Of course, I put papers on here now that I'm working on it. They're kind of like popping up, and I do not want them popping up because, and just because I have it folded over, not folded, rolled up, because I do not want that my sleeve or anything to get caught on the glue. Okay, now I fixed it. How is everyone doing? Today is Saturday the 18th of January. Let me see. I'm going to bring this down a little bit more here for this section. Oop, I'm almost halfway through with this painting. I'd say a little more here and I'll be halfway through, like another 2 inches and I'll be halfway through. So yeah, I'm loving this painting. You know what's funny is let me see. Okay. I thought, because the colors are very kind of, I don't want to say it's monotone because I don't think it's monotone, but it's all like wintry colors. So it's just browns, beiges, grays, blacks, off-white and white. It's it. It's kind of like that's like the color theme here. That I get bored with it. I'm not bored with it at all. I'm actually loving it. I thought I was going to need a break from it, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying every second of it. So I'm beginning to think I actually like the ones that have less colors or less bright colors, I suppose. I don't know, but I love them all. It just really depends on my mood right now. It's winter. Things are, you know, quiet and peaceful. Well, we'll try to be quiet and peaceful. You know, I don't know. I'm really, really, really loving this one. I'm loving the drills. Although I have been finding some trashy drills, some of them with the little nubs on them on the ends, but nothing terrible. Nothing more than any other company, I'd say, to be honest with you. They're fine. You know, I give them some grace when it comes to that. I mean, you're dealing with like these little tiny things. Of course, they're going to have some issues in some of the instances. So anyway, today is October, yeah, sure it is. January 18th, 2025. Did I say the year and I said 2024? I don't know. I might have. But it's actually 2025. I can't believe it. Wow. It's crazy. We found out what my daughter's having for a baby today. I can't say anything yet until she publicly announces it. But we're excited. We're excited no matter what she's having. She already has a baby girl. Excuse me. She's 20 months. No, yeah, 20 months or 19 months, something like that. So she already has a baby girl, and she's having her second. We're really, really, really excited, you know, because who doesn't love having a baby around? I love babies, you know, so it'll be fun. It was nice. We had a good time. And now we're waiting for some snow. We're supposed to be getting some snow, but there's some confusion as to what we're getting. There's always confusion around here. You know, they'll tell us we're going to get 3 to 5 inches. We can get, you know, a foot or more, or vice versa. You're going to get a foot and you get, you know, a dusting of an inch. You know, it's... I don't trust these people. I want to be a weather person and be wrong all the time, okay? Because there's no accountability there, you know? Because it's the weather. The weather's going to do whatever the weather's going to do. It's not beholden to anyone, you know? So, yeah, we had to actually stop by the grocery store. I don't know about you guys, but in New England, people are crazy, okay? We're going to get snow for one day. It's not like we're going to be snowed in, all right? I mean, even if we get a couple of feet of snow, they plow really quickly, and you can usually get out by the next day. If not the first day, usually you want to stay inside. But the next day, usually there's not even a problem. You have to just shovel your way out, you know? But as long as you can get out, the streets are clean and you can get out. Well, I don't know about other parts of the country, but I'll tell you, in New England, especially here in, I'm on the border of Massachusetts, people are insane. They're at the grocery store. I had to stop by the grocery store to grab a couple things for my daughter's house. We were going to go over there for the gender reveal. And the place is packed. I completely forgot we were actually getting a snowstorm. I'm like, what the hell is going on? I mean, sometimes I see this like around the holidays, you know, Thanksgiving. Actually, this is busier than even a Thanksgiving. What I saw today, it was insane. And sometimes for the Super Bowl, they'll also be doing that. Super Bowl's not this week, right? What, a couple of weeks, I think? I don't even know. I don't watch football, so it used to be on my sister's weekend of her birthday. Her birthday is the 27th of January. It used to be then, but I think it since has changed. But I don't know. I mean, the heck do I know? I don't know nothing about Super Bowl. Oh, but I was just like, what the hell is going on? I had completely forgotten we were getting a snowstorm. And that's what people are in there for. And it's like, people, you don't have enough food in your house for a day? Or whatever? I'm like, I mean, if it wasn't for this little party that my daughter was doing, I wouldn't have been bothered to go to the stupid store. And this has happened to me already a few times where I go just on my regular day, forgetting that there's the storm coming, and the place is packed. People are insane. They're buying everything. Is this the same way across the country or in other parts of the world? If I have anybody from, I believe Trudy is from the UK, right, Trudy? I mean, I'm assuming in the UK you're not insane like this. These people, I'm like, oh my God. I mean, if worst comes to worst, I have bread and cheese, okay? You know, crackers and cheese. If worst comes to worst, I certainly wouldn't starve. And I'll be honest with you, I could use a little not eating for a day. Like, oh my God. But it wasn't bad. We went through the quick checkout. We only had 3 things, and we were in and out. It wasn't as bad as I honestly thought it was going to be, because I was stunned at the amount of people in the store. So I was just like, yeah, so we're supposed to get a snowstorm tomorrow, and let's see, what number is that? 55. Where's 55? It's supposed to be, they're saying, anywhere from like 6 to maybe 10 inches, which honestly, you never know around here what we're going to get. You can get 6 to 10 inches. You can get 5 inches. You can get 2, 1, and it can rain and get no snow. It's never 100% of anything. I mean, it's literally, there's been times where they're telling us we're going to get a dusting and we'll get a foot or more. I remember one time when my kids were little, they were in school. And they were saying, oh, we're only going to get a couple inches. I'm like, all right. So I sent my kids to school. And then all of a sudden, the snow keeps coming down, keeps coming down. I'm like, uh-oh. I'm like, they were wrong on the storm. I think it just sat on top of us. So I'm like, I'm going to go get my kids, okay? Because if I don't go get them now, I'm not going to be able to actually go and get my kids because my kids weren't on the bus. I used to drive them. Well, thank God I did because we got like, I don't know if it was like 15 inches of snow. Cars were stuck on the road because they didn't plow. I happened to have a van at the time and it was good in the snow. They hadn't plowed. There was a ton of cars stuck on the road. And I am so glad I went to get my kids because they were wrong on that storm, and my intuition said, no, you better go get them now. I wouldn't have been able to get them till much later on in the day. I don't know how I would have gotten out if the road wasn't plowed, because by the time I got home, I barely was able to make it into the driveway because I lived on a main street. And by then they were already starting to plow. And when they plow on the main street, all the snow gets piled up in front of the driveway. And it was just really bad. I remember that particular one. They were young. I mean, I'm talking, it might have been in second and fourth grade, something like that, because they're a couple of years apart. So anyway, we're expecting a snowstorm. How is everyone doing? How's everything out there? You guys all doing good? We're just in January. January's always a bit of a tough month because it's right after the holidays. People, get all hyped up for the holidays. And then, I'm still using these, by the way, till tomorrow. I'm going to pack this up tomorrow. I haven't been able to the last couple of days. And then after Christmas and whatever holidays you guys celebrate, it's kind of a letdown, And with me, I get so busy during the holidays that I really do not get to enjoy it very much. This year wasn't bad, but I get so worked up doing different things, and that I really don't get much of a chance to actually enjoy it. Boy, this one's hard to see because of this color. I may actually have to turn the light on for this one. So what I've been doing, other than my typical, diamond painting and the little bits of things, I actually decided I was gonna learn to really knit. Now I've known how to do a very basic knit, stockinette stitch, basically, which is knitting, and I could purl stitch and all that. I actually had to do, back in the day, I had to learn to knit for a college course. I was for a very short time in a community college, and I forget what class I was in. I think it was called merchandising or something. And each one of us had to pick some sort of textile art or something like that, and do I don't know what those things are called now. Where you do a display, of the art, and you have to do it yourself. And I'm like, I knew how to crochet back then. I mean, I wasn't as well versed as I am now, not by any chance, but I knew how to do the basic stitches. But someone else picked that. I had to go to the store, buy a book, a knitting book, and actually learn to knit from this book. Which I did. I did very basic, I did like 4 panels. Like I did the stockinette stitch, the knit stitch, I think a basket weave, and there was something else. I don't remember what it was. But, I put it to the side because I did not like knitting as much as crochet. It intimidated me because I had learned to crochet young. And knitting, you have to use the 2 needles, blah, 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 the whole thing. You got to pay attention. Dropping stitches is scary and all that. So I've only knit very basic things over the years, like scarves and stuff. Nothing, never ever anything complicated. But I recently learned how to do the waistcoat stitch in crochet. Now, I had already known a little bit about it, but I actually made a hat or a few hats now. And it basically looks like knit, okay? And use this pattern. It has there was a snowflake pattern, a star pattern, a geometric pattern. So I did a few hats with that. And I'm like, you know what? I actually want to do this in knit. I want to see how I can do this in knit. So I decided one of my goals this year, not that I usually set goals like that, but this year I've decided I want to master knitting. I want to be comfortable with knitting enough that if I want to make a basic hat, or if I want to make maybe, I don't know, a little baby outfit or something, that I can do it. I'd love to make myself a sweater, actually. So I actually finished making a hat. I finished it today. I brought it to my granddaughter because she's got a big head and her mother has a hard time finding hats for her. She's a big girl. She's a tall girl. She's going to be like her dad, And so I made this a beautiful star pattern hat, and I'm like, I was so proud of myself. There was a couple of mistakes in it, but nothing major. Nobody else is going to notice, and I was so happy with that. And okay, where was I going with this? I think I was saying that after the holidays, things are a little bit, things slow down so much, and for some people that's a huge letdown. Plus the light, people get seasonal affective disorder and all that, which I have a touch of that. I use a happy light to help me, but also what's been helping me a lot is I sit here in the morning doing diamond painting. My windows are right in front of me here, and the sun comes in that way, and so I get quite a few minutes, or maybe an hour or two, depending what I'm doing or how long I'm here, getting some sun. So that actually helps me a lot, hugely. But what I've also been doing, which is going to sound ridiculous, right? And this is where I was going with this. I actually started watching Christmas movies the last few days after the holidays. And I'm going to tell you something. Watching them after the holidays is so relaxing. It actually is just so, there's no pressure. There's no pressure. You don't have to worry about decorating your house, or it's just for fun, literally for fun. And I've been so enjoying them. I've watched a couple. I've watched a Santa Claus. I've watched A Christmas Story. I think I may be watching The Grinch or whatever. I'm not going to do it today because I don't think my husband's going to watch Christmas movies. But he's been getting home late, so by the time he gets home, I've already watched one, and then we can watch Stargate. We watch a lot of Stargate together. We love Stargate. Sometimes it's Star Trek, but mainly we've been watching a lot of Stargate. We've watched that show 100 million times, but I can watch that show every day and never get tired of it. That's just one of those that I really, really, really love. But watching the Christmas movies after Christmas, I am loving it. I am so loving it. I'm like, oh, this is better than watching them around Christmas time. Because I think at Christmas time, I get so overwhelmed and so stressed out that I'm not really enjoying them. I feel like I have to watch them, right? Because you feel like you have to watch Christmas movies only around Christmas time, right? But you don't. You can watch them any time of the year. I mean, on my phone, I have a ringer on my phone like everybody else. And mine is... What is that? Silver Bells, I think? No, it's not Silver Bells. I don't know what it is, but it's bells. It's an actual bells. And first of all, I like it because it's, number one, it's Christmas. It's a Christmas song. And I keep that all year round. I don't care. But I also like it because it's bells and it's not super loud. And it's not going to scare me. It's very delicate. And I really, really like that. It's just tinkling bells. And I'm like, I love Christmas, but I have a hard time during the holidays really enjoying it. And I found that, watching the movies, I'm enjoying them so much more watching them now. Because now I don't, it's not like I have to, it's because I want to, not that I ever do it because I have to. I just sometimes feel like, oh, we only got, Christmas is in 3 days. We only have 3 more days to watch all these Christmas movies. No, you don't. You literally have the entire year and you can watch them 10, 15 times if you want. It's weird because sometimes we put ourselves in this should box when it could be a could box. Actually, I just watched someone that I follow online. She's a spiritual person. Her name is Amanda Ellis from England, and I love listening to her because she's like my age, so I can kind of relate to a lot of the stuff she's going through because I'm going through some of that stuff. She's, I think, a year older than me. But she's a spiritually minded. Her channel really is all like spirituality and stuff, and she does like tarot reading, stuff like that, a lot of like future prediction. And I'll be honest, a lot of times she's wrong, but I like her vibe. And she's not one that she's not one to always say she's wrong. She says no, she gets it wrong. I mean, right, she says no, she gets it wrong sometimes. And that's okay because she has her own prejudices, her own biases, things like that. But I just like listening to her. But she just did a video on Facebook, and it was all about the shoulds versus the coulds. And that really resonated with me because it's like we're in a world where we're constantly being shoulded, okay? You should do this. You should be like this. You should look like this. And we do it to ourselves. It's not like other people are even doing it to us. I mean, the media does, but we do it to ourselves. I should be thinner. I should be prettier. I should look younger. I should have different hair. Whatever, I should have a different job. I should, have a different house. I should, all these shoulds. Okay. And her point was you have, should is a very hard word. It's like, it's a very demanding word. It's a word where you're, there's no get out of the shoulds. It's like you have to. Whereas a could is like, well, I could do this. I could wear that, or I could change to that. It's much softer. It's much more forgiving, and it's much more graceful. There's a lot more grace in could rather than should. Now, I mean, there are some things we should do, we should take care of ourselves as best we can. We should try to eat well, all that stuff, okay? But it shouldn't be a law that you have to do anything like that. It really is your own personal choice. I mean, yes, within reason. You shouldn't run people over. You should, respect the law and not get yourself in trouble, within reason. But the problem is, especially we as women, we do a lot of the shoulds to ourselves, and we really do. And I think a lot of it is just how we've been raised. I mean, my childhood was all shoulds or have tos. I never had really choices. There was no choice. You don't tell your mother you're not gonna do the dishes, or your father or anything like that. You're gonna do those dishes. You literally have no choice. That wasn't even an option. And because of that, and even in school and stuff, it was always shoulds. And also there's a lot of comparing, okay? Especially in school, mainly more in school, I think, even at home, but that's a different thing. But it always being compared with other kids. Well, you should be like so-and-so because so-and-so got 100 on a test and you only got 60. Whatever. You should be better. You should be more like that person. And nobody should be like anybody. Nobody needs to be like anybody. We need to stop comparing ourselves. Yes, some kids have a hard time in school. So instead of saying, oh, they should do better, it's why don't you help them do better? Why don't you give them the opportunity to figure out what the issue is? Because some kids actually have learning disabilities, and some kids are just not geared to certain things. Like me, I didn't have really a learning disability. I just, if I wasn't interested in it, I didn't care. Like math, I was just like, I can do the basics. I can add, subtract. If I have to multiply or divide, I could do it. Especially today, you could use a calculator. You should have a basic understanding. But if you're not interested in becoming an engineer, or, not that you're going to know that at like 10 years old, but I'm pretty sure most kids at 10 years old, if you're not interested in math, you're probably not going to want to go into a field that's heavily dependent on math, okay? I was always the kid that was very much hands on. Like, I used to like art and drawing. When we got into seventh and eighth grade, we had shop and cooking. We switched off. And I didn't like shop. And that's just because I had to do a lot of that stuff at home with my dad. But I was actually very, very good at it. I was good with like using the bandsaw. Everything that they asked, I was very good with that. Same thing with the cooking. I was very good with the cooking. I'm much more that kind of kid. And I wish they would kind of, even now, they don't do this, where they look at a kid's strengths and like foster that. Not everybody's meant to go to college. I'm sorry, they're not. Like, my daughter went to college. My son tried it, hated it, and he said he didn't want to go. We're like, fine, that's fine. And today he's a mechanic and he makes, very good money. Or what, a car tech? I don't even know what they're called now, but he's a mechanic, That's what I call it. And he's excellent at it. He's so good at it. My God, he gets job offers all the time because he's a very, very good mechanic. He's got a good mind for it, And yeah, so I wish they would kind of just like focus on that with kids. And instead of this, they should go to college. They should do this. No. Kids, what they should do is the adults should focus on what the kids are actually good at. Lots of kids shouldn't even go to college. They should be going to like trade schools, because I think, number one, they're not going to be in huge debt. Trade schools are much cheaper. And honestly, I think they'd just be happier. So many of these kids go to college, and believe me, I've seen it in my own life with family members in particular, where they're spending $50, $60, $70, $80,000, and they're not, like, they get out, they have all this debt, and the job that they get, they could have got that job without the degree, because that's really what's available. Because the thing too with a lot of these jobs, if you don't have the experience, they don't want to hire you. Well, if you're in school, you're not getting experience. You're just in school, so you're not getting the time working, whatever. So if you're 18 years old and you start working, I don't know, anywhere, and in 4 years you've gained that experience. Somebody comes out of school and they're 22 or whatever, and they may have a degree, but they don't have the experience. If you go for a job interview with both people, I'm guessing that most of the time the person who's hiring is going to look at the person with the experience who knows exactly what they're doing. They're not going to have to be trained as heavily, and they'd probably be like, yeah, that person's probably the one I want. Just my opinion, guys, but this is what I've seen in my own life. I think really experience does really speak a lot. Not that college is a bad thing. It's not. Especially if you're going into like the medical field or, something that actually requires that degree. But there are things do not require a college degree for you. Like, I don't know, administrative assistant. You don't require a college degree. I know a woman. She's my age. Actually, she was my sister's best friend. She, out of college, out of high school. She never went to college. She got a job working for a lawyer as just a secretary, I think, or maybe as a receptionist. She has since become and this is, you're talking like 30 years or more, maybe. No, about 30 years, or a little less than 30 years. She has since working there and going, rising up the ranks just because of her experience, become the HR manager. She literally is an HR manager without any college behind her, because she worked her way up. She didn't have to get herself into, thousands of dollars in debt. Although back in my day, it wasn't like this. The amount they charge for college now is criminal. I'm sorry, it is. It's gross what they charge, to these kids and to their parents. Not just the kids, it's the parents too. Parents feel like they have to, sign over their mortgage practically to get, kids into these schools. And then who's going to pay those bills when they get out? Some of these parents can't afford it. And the kids sometimes can't even get a job. And on top of it, when my daughter went to school, we paid some of her loans. When they send you a bill, say you owe, I don't know, like say $10,000. This is just an arbitrary number here. They're not going to give you 10 years to pay that off. Some of the bills we got, they were giving us like a few months to pay off. So we were getting $800-900 bills. And I'm like, how are we supposed to pay? And then on top of the interest rate. It's criminal. It really is. It's criminal. This stuff all really needs to be addressed and really needs to change. Because it's insane. I'm finding that a lot of these degrees aren't worth the paper they're written on. And I do feel bad for these kids, but nobody forced them to sign anything. So, hey, but they're kids. They're kids. They're told by their teachers. They're told by so many people, oh, you should, you have to, you won't get a good job without it. The fact of the matter is, it's not true. I don't believe that because I've seen it in my own life. I've seen it with plenty of people I know, that you don't have to get a college degree to do, like, I'm talking like basic stuff. I'm not talking like, you're not going to become a doctor without a college degree. You're not going to become a lawyer without a college degree. You're probably not going to become an engineer without a college degree. Although I do know a couple of engineers. At least one. I mean, she has a basic degree, but it's not anything huge. But she didn't have to go to a 4-year college, nothing like that. No master's degree, nothing. And as a matter of fact, she was working at her job and they paid for her to go to school. So she never even had to pay for any of it. That's one. That's two. I know another one. She's an engineer. And same thing. She started doing, I don't know what, worked her way up in the company. And then they paid for her to go to school and she became an engineer. I mean, there are different ways to do it too. If jobs offer those opportunities, I think that's a really good thing. So, and the problem is today, sometimes these kids are coming out of school and they are having a really hard time because they're not really being taught for the jobs. They're being educated in very basic stuff. I don't know, like liberal arts or whatever. But they need like other things. They actually need the experience. I don't know. Listen, I could be talking out my what, but what I've seen is some of the stuff just isn't necessary. And people are getting in these huge debts. I mean, I know people who are in a ton of debt because of college, and it's scary. It's scary because you can't write out that debt. If you try to, say, claim bankruptcy, unfortunately, because the government guarantees these loans now, you can't even write that off. You can write everything else off, but you can't write. So if you have $400,000 in student loans, you can't write them off, in a bankruptcy. And sometimes bankruptcies are needed to help people get back on their feet. Nobody wants to go through that, but some people have gone through it because they've lost their job, or there's been an illness in the family and they just can't get out from under that debt. And it's actually winds up being very helpful. But with any college degree like that, you can't write it off. And that's, in my opinion, that's wrong. If somebody has a bona fide reason to file for bankruptcy and they goes through the whole court system and all that, they should be able to put down whatever they need to put down to be able to breathe. Sometimes it's somebody passes away in the family, or there's a divorce. I mean, there's a multitude of reasons why anybody would file for bankruptcy. I've seen it in my own life, with people I know and stuff. And generally it's been helpful, but it is scary because you do lose your credit for a few years. So you have to be very careful. You can rebuild your credit, but that's slow. But it also teaches you to like budget yourself better, and make sure that you don't get yourself in that again. Because I mean, who wants to go before a judge and have to, tell them that, hey, I can't pay my bills? Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do that. So, but it's there for a reason. That's why businesses use it. As a matter of fact, I just saw Joann's is filing bankruptcy again. They filed last year, I think, in April, and they're filing again. I hope they don't close the store. They have a store in the next town for me, and I really, really love it. As a matter of fact, I got 2 diamond paintings there, one for me and one for my sister. It was Kincaid, and it was 80% off because it was a Christmas one. And it's absolutely stunning. I think it's something Freedom. There's the Washington Monument in the back, and there's a big Christmas tree in the front. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It was like $9, It was a diamond dots. And it was $9. And unfortunately, that they're filing for bankruptcy. And I'm like, oh, I hope they don't close. We already lost the Christmas tree shops was it last year? No, I think it was the year before last. Might have been, was it the beginning of last year? I don't know. I mentioned it before, guys, but not everybody watches these whipping chats. But it was like such a wonderful store. We all loved it around here. Man, people are still crying about that store today. I have so many things from that store. So many things, like for Christmas, for Thanksgiving, actually, for Halloween. I even have a couple of Easter things. So many of the decorations I have around my house are from that store. And it's just really sad that, they bought it. I think it was Bed and Bath that bought it first, and then another company after that, or vice versa. And they literally freaking ruined it. They ruined the company. They ruined the store. The prices all of a sudden got much higher than they used to be. And it was just really sad that they closed that store. It was an experience to go there, especially for the holidays. Oh, it was so much fun. So much fun, and we're all really sad about that. So anyway, how's everyone else doing? How are you handling winter? How you're handling the weather? Some places I know have been freezing, and actually in like poor California, they're burning to the ground. That's horrible. It's really sad, to see so many people losing their homes, losing their stuff, their animals. It's just awful. I don't like talking about it because honestly, it just makes me sad, and I feel like helpless. Like there's nothing I could do about it. So some of the stuff, I will be honest, I do stick my head in the sand about, because I don't have the emotional capacity for every terrible thing that happens in the world. I got to pick and choose what I can give my energy to. So I do watch a little bit of it, but I can't like get deeply into it because it actually makes me physically ill, honestly. It makes me feel like really, really sick and depressed. So I do have to like guard my energy and stuff. And I know that may be a cop out, but I know how I react to things. I mean, I remember, I don't know how many years ago, it was many, many years ago, there was the terrible tsunami on Christmas Day. I think it was it Indonesia area, I think. And I literally couldn't watch that at all. I could not watch it. Everyone was talking about it. I generally don't watch much of the news anyway. Most of the stuff I get online, or actually, I haven't even watched cable. I don't remember the last time. We have cable, but I never watch it. But I usually get my stuff online or on the radio. I listen to a lot of radio. And I literally I could not watch that at all. And it's the same thing with these fires. I have a very hard time watching, like the suffering and the horror, because number one, my brain goes to like, what would I do if I was there? And I don't know what the heck I would do. I'll be honest, I don't know. It's just it's it's disempowering to me to think about it, because nobody knows what's going to happen to us, and my biggest fear is something like that happening. And so I have a really hard time watching it because I'm so afraid that it could happen. Does that make sense? And it's just horrible, though. I do feel really bad for what's going on out there or anywhere else for that matter. My thoughts do go out to you people. If anybody's watching from there, I do think about. I'm not watching it a lot on TV, but I have seen some of it, because me watching it is making no difference whatsoever. There is a person I follow on Facebook. My daughter just connected me with him. He sells crystals. I haven't bought anything from him yet, but he's supposed to be doing some sort of auction where the proceeds are, because he's right in LA, I think, where the proceeds go to the Humane Society there for the animals. So I may hop on that auction and buy maybe one thing, and at least, I'll be doing one little bit of helping, something like that. Because I know if I give it the money to him, more than likely he's going to actually do what he's saying he's going to do. Whereas if I give it to a big charity, I don't trust big charities. I just don't. I would rather give it to a person I know than give it to a charity, because most of it doesn't even go to people. Most of it goes to overhead and administrative fees and their CEOs and stuff. I'm sorry, but a charity, a CEO of a charity should not be making millions of dollars, and in some cases they are. I don't know exactly which ones, but if you look them up, you can find out. If if you're running a charity, how is it that you can, even if they're making $300,000 a year, forget if they're making millions, but say they're making $300,000 a year, how is that even possible, and how is that moral? You're working at a charity. You're supposed to be non-profit. Yeah. I don't that whole non-profit thing. It's a bunch of baloney. Trust me, I know. I worked for the church. They're telling you they're non-profit. Trust me when I tell you, as much as I love my nuns, they're non-profit. They don't pay taxes, blah, 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 the whole thing, okay? But those nuns are worth millions of dollars, okay? Just in property alone. Same thing with the priests that my sister works for. Those priests are worth millions of dollars, okay? They don't pay taxes. Now, with my nuns, they did live a rather humble life, okay? And like I told you, I love my nuns. But I know how much they're worth, Whereas the priests, those guys, I'm telling you, they get really good food. They have, they get like the best of everything, okay? They get the best of everything. Now, in some parts of the world, I'm sure that there's some priests that are living that humble life. They take a vow of poverty and they're living that way. Here in the Northeast, I don't think so. Now, there are some that are very good. They're very kind, even if they're, living in that particular space. They're very kind. They do help people. But there are others. They're just like us, guys. They're human. They're not any more special than we are just because they have, priest attached to their name or nun attached to their name. They have their fallacies. And some of them are just selfish and self-centered, and they really don't care too much about people. They're in that life because, number one, it's for them. I mean, maybe it was a calling, I don't know, but some priests go into especially back in the day, they went into the priesthood because they got an amazing education. Priests get an amazing education. The nuns, not so much. Nuns used to go into it mainly to be teachers or nurses, and yes, they got educated, but not to the degree that these priests have doctorates, okay, in theology and, other things like that. They're highly educated, highly intelligent people. I'm not saying the nuns weren't, they just aren't treated the same. There definitely is a difference in the way nuns are perceived in the church, or the women are perceived in the church, and this is nothing new. And I'm not knocking the church for that, because I do believe people have their roles. I'm a very traditional person. My husband and I have very traditional roles. But I think women should be just as educated if they want to be. Just because you're a nun doesn't mean you should only be educated in being either a teacher or a nurse. You can be other things, I don't know what. Maybe an engineer. An engineer nun or a scientist nun. Excuse me. Why not, right? Why not? I don't know. I don't know how the hell I started talking about whatever, wound up talking about the priests and the nuns. Okay, I don't know. I just start one thing and I just ramble. You guys know how I am. I just start. My brain just takes me from one dot to another. Let's see what time we're at. 46 minutes. So I'm probably gonna end it here. Honestly, I was just checking in on you guys just to see how you're doing. I was gonna do this for a while, but I'll be honest, I'm getting tired. What time is it? 7:05. Yeah, okay. I'm getting tired. I think I'm gonna go park my butt in front of the TV and put on a Christmas movie. Maybe start a new hat, just so I can do another hat again with the knitting, so that way I can get much more comfortable with it. I want to make at least 2-3 hats. Now I'm going to try to make one actually my size. That's another thing, is like figuring out the gauge. Very different from crochet. It is not the same. So I could make actually one for myself. And that will be fun. So I think I'm actually going to go and do that, But I hope you guys, wherever you are, have a great night. If you're in an area that's getting snow, getting cold, take care of yourself. Stay warm. Don't go outside unless you have to, as far as driving around in that mess. I wait for a day if I could possibly can, so I don't have to drive in it, because it just scares me. I'm nervous driving in the snow. A lot of people are, even here in the Northeast. And honestly, the last few years we've been getting less and less snow, so... But I've been driving it in all my life, but I don't like driving in the snow. It's scary, and it's not me. It's other people. They drive like idiots. They really do. They don't slow down. They think because they have a truck, they can drive, the same speed, and not realizing, if you have to stop, there's ice, and people are dumb. Some people really are stupid. Sometimes I'm telling you, I could fix the world, All right, you guys. I hope you have a great day wherever you are, or a great night. Take good care of yourselves. Blessings and thank you.